to Daily Talk Show, episode 306.
And the only one more colourful than our roadcaster is our guest, Ryan Jon.
Thank you very much for having me. It's the first time I've seen you fire off the opener from the desk. I love it.
It's exciting.
Mate, we've got a radio studio. It's just not in a big building that you're used to.
One thing I've learned the last few years, you don't need a radio station or studio to make great radio.
I thought you were going to say size doesn't matter.
What's that too?
Size does also not matter.
You are, for anyone watching, wearing one of the most colourful jackets I've ever seen.
Yeah, I texted you earlier. I just got my phone out to reread it. I said, my friend Ryan, the world's most fabulous business consultant, will be joining for today's episode to advise the partners of big media company.
And you've rocked up in, what you're wearing is a sequins jacket.
Yeah.
How many different coloured sequins do you think there are in there?
4?
5, 6.
I think 4.
I reckon there's 6.
It's a beautiful
light
pattern,
blue, purple,
so 1, 2, 3,
pink.
4, 5, 6, 7.
It's a beautiful number. I was at a gay wedding on the weekend. That's why I'm back over here. And they said, instead of buying us a present, use that money to buy yourself the most fabulous outfit ever. So during the day and the formalities, we all wear like a proper suit. And then it got to about 7 and they're like, all right, everyone go change.
Yeah.
And so I got this and I had the shorts to go with it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm never going to wear this ever again until I texted you earlier and said, I'm coming on the show as a fabulous business consultant because I just wanted an excuse to wear it. So here we are. Ready to consult.
What sort of coin did you drop on the outfit?
I actually bought 2 different outfits. So I changed at 7 p.m. into this and then changed again at 3 a.m. into one of the most horrific things ever. I think this and the shorts combo was maybe 100.
Yeah.
From what store?
ASOS actually has a festival section.
Interesting.
So if you go to ASOS, it's like formal wear, casual wear, streetwear.
Basic
festivals.
bitches.
Yeah, basic bitches at festivals. And I was like, yep, thank you.
You're flying back to Perth tonight.
Yep.
Are you going to rock that on the plane?
No, I might wear the other thing that I wore, which was I got a...
he's got a bunch of nudes in there.
I got a onesie, which is only the faces of the guys.
What print shop? I'm always curious as to where people get these things. Did you go to a
store
website?
Online? So basically, it's just their 2 faces, the 2 guys who got married.
Amazing.
In a onesie, and it almost didn't arrive on time. And I said to a friend, I don't think it's going to make it. And they must have assumed it was like a tie or a jacket. And they're like, you'll get another opportunity.
Quick question. Was this a legal wedding? Like it's actually...
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
I don't know if you were here for the plebiscite 2 years ago, Tommy, but
there's a lot of hoorah going on.
Shit takes time.
But I was wondering, so so it actually goes through on a piece of paper.
Yeah, well, I was going to...
So Josh and I could... Actually, I'm already married. I can't marry someone else. But Mr. 97 and Josh could go to the office in the city and get officially married.
Did you notice any difference between...
He's not buying into my idea.
A same-sex...
he values marriage. He's not some throwaway with Mr. 97.
Is there any differences that a same-sex marriage brings other than a lot of flair and...
Well, I don't want to typecast gay weddings for the one I was just at because we went all out, obviously, but my friends aren't disturbed by what you're supposed to do at a wedding. So there's all these things that you just assume that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we're not going to do anything we don't want to do. So the actual formalities were 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, great.
It was quick, fun. It was quite beautiful. I cried like audibly, like almost sobbing, because these guys have been together for 13 years and have been my best friend. And that's like, there's a good chance this wedding was just never going to happen. And to think they thought we might not ever get married. And Phil, one of the guys, he's a tradie. His dad's a tradie and he's a really old school Aussie dad. Yeah. I don't know what, I'll probably even choke up saying this now, but when this old fashioned Aussie dad stands up and just says how proud of his son he is and like welcomes Liam to the family, we were just like, oh God.
Please tell me he was wearing one of what you're wearing.
Nah, but he did dress up a little bit. But it was pretty much just a massive party. And that group of friends are heavy partiers. I think we finished up at 9 a.m. on Sunday. So it was 3 p.m. with the formalities, 7 p.m. with the speeches, and we finished up at 9 the next morning.
Yeah, Jesus.
I think I've still got mascara on.
Your eyes are fairly bloodshot.
Pretty beautiful. But so that was the weekend and it was great. But like I said, there'd be some pretty traditional same-sex weddings, I would assume. So
there's one thing, the gays know how to party.
Well,
that's a typecast that you kind of want.
It's a good typecast.
Yeah, fucking oath.
It was incredible. And like, I haven't been to too many weddings where I've brought multiple outfit changes and everyone was just like, I didn't stand out. For people watching on YouTube seeing this jacket, I was pretty dull compared to some of the others. A lot of skin. Saw a lot of things that I didn't probably need to see, but I did and I loved it. So,
what happened? Like, so 9 a.m. is when it finishes.
Yep.
Does
9 a.m.
That's what you said, wasn't it? 9
that's when the
a.m.
last people were like, I think we're done here.
What time were you done?
Yeah.
Oh, I was.
When were you done and when did you leave?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think last time I was at this venue, I was a 10 a.m.er, but this time I was probably done by 4 or 5.
There's nothing good that's going on after 3 after 2 a.m.
Because I had to drive, I had to travel there for a while. So by the time I got there, I was exhausted. I'm like, I can't keep up with it.
It was in Lawn or something?
In between Lawn and Apollo Bay. So this huge property on the Great Ocean Road, looking over the water.
Yeah.
And everyone went to the beach for sunrise at 6 a.m. And
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
But everyone's like still at the party at that point. They just
Well, the property was on the beach.
Oh, so nice.
It's just a 100-meter walk down and I mean, by 6 a.m., that's not very, like, the party's in this room, not that room. It's just people straggling around.
The party's in the toilet.
It's just wherever you end up, it's happening. Yeah.
Well, how many people were there?
Probably 100 or so.
Fuck.
That's fine.
That's a big event. Are you, if one day you were to get married, are you a guy that would have a big wedding?
Nah. And people find this really strange. Like, I work on the radio.
Based on the
clothing. Jacket. Yeah.
That's on the loud.
This is going to sound weirder wearing this jacket, but I hate the thought of standing there and having all those people look at me.
Yeah.
I think it's like if I'd happily MC a wedding. I've MC'd heaps of weddings. That's heaps of fun. But being in the wedding, ooh.
It is good. Like, it's not something that I don't want it. I didn't really feel like it was one thing that I was like, oh, I didn't have the opinion you did, but I also wasn't going, I can't wait to be in front of all these people. Yeah. You're in this zone though. That's the best thing about it. It's like you locked eyes with your partner and it's just like you're in this world and you're like fucking, it's like when I'd struggle looking into your eyes and holding it there because what I actually am right now. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Your partner, you're so close. You're like, it's almost like you're having dialogue without talking. Yeah. And you know what that dialogue is. And so you're up there, it's like kind of like in this little world, all these people are watching. It's a weird experience.
Yeah. Well, I think if Bridget and we will get married at some stage, but I reckon we'll just sort of sneak off and do it and then just have a big party. Yeah. Because again, the formalities and stuff, it's just so, I don't know, I've just never been a big marriage. My parents weren't married, so I've never grown up. Like, it just doesn't really mean much to me. But if I want to be married to Bridget, we'll sign the docs and then just have a big party and wear probably stupid clothes like this.
Yeah.
How often are you leaving Perth at the moment, like flying?
It's March now, and I think I've come back 4 times to see Bridget. So yeah.
Oh, you're doing long distance. We haven't. Yeah. Was that?
Oh, we mentioned
last
that,
time you were on the show.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, we spoke to you on the phone. Fuck.
Yeah, I was trying to lose my job by bagging out radio stations on this podcast.
Did you get any pushback from anyone?
Did you get close at all?
Surprisingly, you guys don't have a huge listenership. So lucky
specifically in that industry.
Mr. 97, please send this to his program director.
Send it to radio today.
Yeah.
Ryan
Get an article.
Jon Oh yeah, no. But so I live in Perth. My partner Bridget just got a new job and moved back to Melbourne, or just outside of Melbourne. So I come back every 3 or 4 weeks.
Fuck, it's expensive.
It's expensive, but I don't know. It's worth it. We just got a dog called BJ.
You got BJ?
Yeah, I don't know what it stands for. Because we got him from a farm and we're like, what's it stand for? And they're like, I don't know, we just call him BJ.
Oh, they named him BJ.
And they also call him Peanut Butter Boy.
I was
I didn't know you could get BJs while doing long distance. This is a new thing.
Bodie, my son's initials are BJ.
Mr. 97 loves that.
So he's a BJ.
He's a BJ. Yep. I don't know. I feel like I just remember growing up with this tough guy in the neighbourhood who was BJ. So when it came to, blowjob, it was like you would never call him blowjob. Yeah. He'd beat the shit out of you.
Well, our Kelpie's a softie and he's a bit of a dork, so I don't
know. There's no good blowjob with a softie.
Yeah, no, wouldn't have thought so.
Where does BJ live?
He lives with Bridget.
Okay.
Out in Great Western, small little town.
Was there any discussion of you potentially getting BJ, or was it always?
No, Bridget's always wanted a dog, and it's just been tricky. Like we've been in apartments. Or we've had 3 months left of a job and we didn't know if we're going to still be in town. Yeah. So it's always been a good excuse not to get one. And Bridget's like, stuff it, I'm just doing it. I think it was more to keep her company a little bit.
I was going to say, is it like safety? She can't.
Well, she said, I want it to be safe. I just want a dog in the house to scare people. She's a lady.
Safety that alone. She's not going to leave you because she's found someone else to keep her company when she's got BJ.
His job is to scare off all those hot, attractive farmer boys who's trying to get a slice of that. But I went and met BJ the other day. I'd never met him before and Bridget wasn't home from work yet. Yeah. And I walked in and this so-called guard dog just walked straight over to me, started licking me and was like my best friend straight away. I'm like, if someone breaks into this house, there's no way he's scaring him off.
Yeah. Maybe he knew it was you.
Or have been FaceTiming with him.
You see, it could be. I was actually wondering, a friend of mine, her kid was really friendly with Bree, my girlfriend, right? And the reason that I think it is because I was really around our friend while she was pregnant. And I feel like my voice has a familiarity,
Really?
and now it might move on to Brie, is because Brie and I are so close.
Well, I hope that's true because I've spent a lot of time like whispering sweet nothings into pregnant people's bellies who I
Yeah.
barely know.
No, I think
But
that's a
that's a
thing.
thing,
I think
is
it's Mr. 97. Look it up.
What does he actually Google?
They knowing the babies familiar with parents' voices in the womb. Because I was talking to Amy's belly heaps. And
I
now,
think it could be a thing. Like I was really testing the rapport, like using my voice a lot to see if it sort of swayed him.
Do you know them well?
Yeah, it didn't sway him as much, but he really liked Brie, and so I tried to take a little bit of
Yeah.
Still a
the
bit
shine.
of her thunder.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a
There's
nice
something
guy.
about having the power over something like a dog, like when you're the owner, you
I
know.
didn't get
Like-
it to be in power of it.
No, but I'm just saying it's one of the perks of like being able to tell something what to do. You can't really.
BJ will
boss
not be
around.
told he's an idiot.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
so I'm
so-
like, don't jump on me. I'm watching the TV. Straight on top. Like,
Inside dog or outside dog?
started outside, then Bridget came to letting him in the lounge. for a
Yeah.
bit,
Uh-huh.
and then slowly went from the lounge floor to like, all right, just get on the couch for a little bit. And now I'm pretty sure he sleeps next to her in the bed.
Yeah,
Oh,
next
cute.
he'll be under the sheets in the bed,
Yeah.
and then you'll be like Mr. 97 showering with the dog.
The dog was in the room while showering was happening. That was the thing.
Well, he gets in the shower with the dog to clean the dog,
That's how he cleans the dog.
and he's nude.
I think that's fair.
fucking-
I actually think that's fair enough because
Nah,
if
mate.
you tried to
There you
wash
go.
the dog fully dressed, you'd end up with all your clothes soaked. So you might as well just get up in there and like you're not staying
Lean
dry
in.
when you're cleaning the dog.
Go
No way.
outside. There's car wash joints now have dog wash areas.
oh,
you know
oh,
this?
that's cool.
Pay for that though.
Yeah, that's
I mean, you have to pay for the
cost
water
of
that comes
doing
out
business.
of you. We've got a bath.
He doesn't. He lives at home, mate.
The house in Great Western that we have where Bridget lives, we didn't know it when we got it, but it has a bath in the backyard.
Really?
And it looks like maybe like an old tool chest or like it's kind of imagine a coffin shape sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it has a big sort of actually it's pretty much like a coffin but like a corrugated iron outside, and we just lifted it up to see, or maybe that's where they keep firewood, or it's like that's where the mulch is or something. We lifted it up and it's a full proper bath, hot water connected.
Really?
Got this shower outside and stuff.
Is
I
it
think
designed for-
I've seen photos on your Instagram of
Yeah.
like a getaway type
It was
place.
in a bathtub in a place called Bathurst, and it was like this huge bathtub. We lifted it and we heated it up with water from the stove.
Oh,
but
well, this
was
is all connected,
yeah.
but it's still out the back, so you can sit out the back, look out over the mountains, over Hall's Gap and stuff, and
that's
sit in the
sick.
bath.
Is it a rental?
Yep.
That's about
Yeah, although I reckon we might try and snag that one.
Buy it.
We like it.
See if the bath
you can
comes with it.
How many times does that actually happen? Do you think someone goes from renting a place to then
Heaps.
going and buying
Heaps,
it?
I reckon.
Well, look,
I reckon.
property investors are just that, investors. So if the price is right and they're looking to, diverse or whatever.
Yeah, if you've leased it, it's because it's probably an investment. Well, where are you living if it's not something you've bought to
As
live
in, like you have it.
Yeah, so they're
available.
probably like, if it's the right time. You just got to get people at the right time.
Mm.
Yeah.
You've bought a few properties.
Yeah, and you just go and snake them.
Yeah.
Snake 'em. What does that mean?
If they need to sell quick and you
Oh,
know
okay,
that,
yeah, sure. You
going low, bro.
Actually, Leon Shergren, that
That's-
was
yeah, that's
his,
what he
his
did.
tactic. Just
Well, Leon-
a bit
I
of-
was talking to him before that. I was like, mate, you snake them hard. If they say a number, you say no. If
Really?
they want to sell it, that
Do you-
means they want to sell it.
Do you have any tips in regards to you are playing
Snaking people?
Snaking people.
Yeah, snaking people. How do you snake?
Well, the house
Ombudsman. Mention the ombudsman.
Oh, I mentioned that. Can I talk about that on here?
Yeah.
So when I worked at National Australia Bank, they told us if anyone mentions the ombudsman, just give them whatever they want.
And should you know, international viewers, listeners, NAB have been in some of the most trouble when it
Yeah.
comes to the Royal Commission in Australia when it comes to banking.
Well, I think even if they're right,
Yeah.
if it goes to the ombudsman, it costs them a couple of grand in fees. So they're
Okay.
like, look, if it's going to cost us $2,000 in fees and you're disputing $800, just give
Yeah.
them the $800.
Really?
How do you? I think these link the snaking, the ombudsman. How do you do it without lying?
Well,
like
when
how do
we
you?
got the house in Canberra, these people who were selling it, and they built this beautiful home. We loved it. It was like 2 years old. And we knew they were moving into their new house in 3 weeks, and they just needed to sell it. And so the first opening was on a Saturday, and I said, I'll come around Wednesday for a look. So they just gave me a private viewing, and I just gave them the check and was like, if you accept it right now, I'll buy it tomorrow. And knowing that if they had an inspection and they were going to have an auction like 3 weeks later, I was like, they're under the pump.
Yeah.
So I'm like, here's the check. You can take
Sorry.
it right now and I'll have it tomorrow.
I'm just
how much-
imagining you in this jacket.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I rocked up in my fabulous jacket and I
Here's
was like,
the check.
take it
They'd be
now.
like, "Fucking all right, I can't see the check, but I'll take it."
How
Yeah.
did you work out how much to pay?
Well, I thought it was worth about 30 grand more than what we paid. So I just went, it's probably worth about this. I know they're desperate, so I'll just go low and see what they say. And the power of having the check in the hand and saying we'll sign tomorrow. Versus if you say, a lot of people are like, we're looking to buy, but we have to sort out the finance. And it's a 60-day settlement. We're like, it's a 24-hour settlement. The money's here, yes or no.
Yeah, wow.
And they're like, fuck yeah.
Oh, it's like fucking Eddie Maguire or what? It's got very much.
I just wanted the
game
house.
show.
I was like, if more people get to see this house, they're all going to want it as well because it was so nice.
But you can't. If you're feeling that way, do you think they get the sense of, in one area, it's a power move of like, man, take the check.
Yeah.
But it's also the other side, which is like, just take the check.
Yeah, like they could have been power moving me.
Yeah, like
that's any kind of bartering or exchange. There's always like it's a power game, right?
There was a power play.
You outpowered.
There was a power play within the power play. Now that I remember it, so I think I said about $5,000 less than I wanted to pay.
Yeah,
but I was like, and it had like something like this. It's called a butcher's block in the kitchen.
Oh yes,
it was really
I've
nice.
actually seen the photo of the house when you were there. Yeah,
so it's this beautiful butcher's block, and so
for cutting meat.
It became our kitchen table, like, but it's
So you're the one at my house. Yeah. You're the one at my house, Josh. The one from IKEA. It's like probably a lot cheaper than the one you've got.
Oh, so it's a butcher's block.
No, it's like it's a wooden top of a table, and so it's like it was used for butchers back in the day.
It was sort of the kitchen bench / dining table / that's where we spent all our time, and because it's not fixed to the house, but it looked so perfect because the guy that built the kitchen built the butcher's block. So I took a little bit off what I was going to offer, and said, I'd love to have that table as well if I could keep it. And they went, we'll have to push the price up. And I was like, yep, that's what I thought you'd say. And I factored that in.
Really?
And so they pushed it up.
Did you say 5K? Did you do the full amount?
I essentially pay 5K for that table. Yeah. But like I said, I just
took 5 grand. Is that good negotiation?
I got a free table.
Did you
I was going to pay this amount.
No, you got
no
a
table.
$5,000.
Then I lowballed them and they pushed
Depends
me
on
back
how
up.
you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Did you take the table to your new place?
No, we left it there.
So it's...
We still own it though. Yeah.
Okay, good. As long as the
no one's touching that
tenants
table.
don't
It's the
fucking
most expensive table of my life.
steal this shit. So how do you do this negotiating without feeling like you're a liar? It's like when you go for a job.
I wasn't lying. I just wanted the house. They could have said no.
But I guess so. When you go for a job and they say how much you on.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Whatever you're on plus 10 grand.
Okay. So you're lying. No, but so that's where I think people battle with these situations.
It's hard. I've actually thinking about now, all the new jobs I've got have sort of been with the same company. So if you lie, they're like, we can just call your boss and ask. But I know it's hard with negotiating. You have to be prepared to walk away.
Yeah.
So when I went in and was like, take it or leave it. If they had said we'll leave it, then you have to. Then you can't be like, oh well, actually, then you tell us. You kind of got to stick by it, and that happens in a lot of industries where people come in and go, I'm worth this much, pay it, or I'm leaving, and they say no, and you have to leave.
I got rid of Foxtel, which is like a cable here in Australia, because I tried that move where I'm like, look,
how'd they go for it?
If you can't lower this package, I'm just getting rid of it.
Yep.
I'm done.
Right, I'm done. And so Bree just wanted to like lower the price. She really loved Foxtel. I hung up, and Bree goes, so what happened? I'm like, well, yeah, we're getting rid of Foxtel. She's like, what the fuck? What do you mean? How am I going to watch all the shows? I'm like, I don't know.
When did this happen?
This was like a couple of years ago.
But look long term, who is the real winner there?
Yeah,
Foxtel is dying,
Yeah.
and you run a media company.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Big media company.
Yeah, you'll be a big media company. Will be around a lot longer than Foxtel will be.
Hopefully.
Well, can you do that with, like, it's the Barefoot Investor. He says you should call all your insurances and your home loan and just go hard. Have you done that stuff?
I've gone to a bank and said, nah, this is the interest rate we'll pay.
And what did they say?
They said yes too quickly, and I was like, damn it, I should have gone lower.
Fuck.
Really?
But another time I was buying a house and I had to go print off a bank statement, and I walked into a different bank and just said, oh, can you just print off my statement? I need to submit it.
Wait, a different bank to the bank?
So I got the home loan with Commonwealth Bank, and my day-to-day bank is Westpac.
Sure.
So I went into Westpac and was like, can you print off this statement? I need to give it to Combank to prove what I earn. And they went, oh, you're buying a house? We'll beat it.
Really?
And I was like, it's already done. Like, I just need to print this form off and I'm moving in tomorrow. And they're like, oh, you should have told us, because whatever they were doing, we just would have beat it.
Far out.
Really? So you couldn't in that moment?
Well, like I said, we're moving in the next day.
Yeah,
and it's already been done. But I think that was 2 years ago. But I keep hearing, I heard Scott Pape talk this morning that banks are really tightened up. But they're still competitive. Like, they want your money. You're a customer.
I've closed credit cards as well for the same thing where I'm like, unless I get zero fees.
Yeah.
Because the fees can be pretty expensive. Like Bree and I had
Account fees and shit.
Yeah, well, the
annual fee on a credit card.
yeah, like the black, especially like when you go to those like frequent flyer ones. I think it was like $2.99 or something.
How you going with those frequent flyer ones though?
Yeah, they're good. We're
Bro, he
getting there.
flew first class, like full bed
You did
to Europe
Yeah,
doing
to
the
London.
point
Points?
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it
there,
was
put it
great.
there.
Yeah.
Ooh, it feels right. I did
Yeah.
that. I signed up to every credit card last year I could, and I haven't paid for a flight for a while.
Yeah, so
It was
what are
the
you-
anti-barefoot approach?
Are you One World? Are you Star Alliance?
Qantas.
Where Qantas? So
Yeah.
all One
One
World
World.
stuff.
Is that One World?
Yeah, that's
That's
One
it,
World.
yeah.
Yeah.
But everything goes into that.
And so what's your what are you going to actually use the points for? Have you worked it out?
Flying back and forth here.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
To visit you guys and a little bit of my partner.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
mainly you
Well,
guys.
we're
The
closer
Daily
to
Talk
Melbourne
Show.
than your partner, so
It's
we're
true.
in Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, last year I flew to Sydney twice, Melbourne twice, and to Bali once on points.
All points.
Have you got
Yeah.
status or no status?
I mean, look at this jacket.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
like, it
status.
doesn't matter what
Looks
the
like-
status
I don't
on
know,
the
but
card
the
says.
status is a fraud though. Like
Yeah, yeah.
silver or gold or something, and it means like not much.
Nah.
Like, oh, you can line up over there, and I'm like, to get on the same plane.
Yeah.
Like, what's the?
I got super annoyed. I realized that I needed to stop chasing the status thing while we're away.
It's a metaphor for life, though.
Yeah, it is. But I
I mean,
knew
don't get me wrong, you're still better than everyone else.
no, it was when I realized was when people were getting on the plane and they'd called only people with platinum or whatever, and other people started to line up. And I just had this moment where my first impulse was to scream at them all, like, get out of the way!
I've been accruing status points for years. Get out of my line.
I've earned this! But I decided
That has to be ego, because I feel the same. Like, I love it when I'm
I think
with
it's
somebody
more
who's
earning.
got it.
I think it's the thing is, like, I feel like I've spent all this time, like all the credit cards and the fucking around, and
Yeah.
it feels like
Which you have.
Yeah, it's like it's the equivalent of no one should get so obsessed about toasted sandwiches, but Virgin Australia, their lounge, they do toasted sandwiches, and so you end up buying into all the hype of every little bit. Like when in reality, we could buy a jaffle maker and have it and just like do it all at the
Yeah, yeah.
airport.
Be like, I've been accruing points, and I want that jaffle to have the right cut of ham, or I'm going to
Exactly.
fucking flip this joint.
I know.
Yeah.
You do become big, like frequent flyers is the big baby club, essentially, isn't it?
It's all big baby businessmen.
Yeah.
It totally works though. Like I now only fly Qantas.
Yeah.
Because of some little, I spent thousands of dollars to accrue like a few points for something. I could have just used that money on flights.
Yeah.
So what's the reality of opening all these credit cards? How
What's
many
your
of
credit
you?
score like?
I don't want to know.
It'd have to be good.
You
It's
know,
good if
well,
you keep
it gets a
paying it.
hit. It will get a hit every time you open up an account.
It gets to a point where you can't have any more. So I don't reckon I could get too many more without closing a few others down first. I still pay them all on I never pay any interest, but yeah, there's a point where you can't just have huge credit cards everywhere.
What's your the video you made about
Yep.
this whole thing? Did you get anyone saying, "Fucking, why are you telling people to get credit cards?"
Yeah, lots. Because I thought, who's going to be interested in this topic? So I just lobbed it into a Scott Pape appreciation group. And
Did you
just
really?
sat back and copped it
No
hard.
way.
But it's one of those things.
You really did that?
Yeah. Well, you got to put it in front of the people that want to see it. And
Ryan Jon was the one who connected me with Scott Pape. That's how my connection with
So
Scott.
funny.
and he's now one of the great members of the big media company, isn't he?
Yeah, client of
Yep.
Big Media.
Well, you're welcome. I'm still waiting on a commission, but that's fine. But I think, like I said in the video, and maybe we can post it somewhere for people to watch it, is that there's ways you can win and there's ways you can lose. And what happens is people see how you can win, sign up, and then they do the dumb things and get caught.
Yeah.
And I think the people in the Barefoot group and in general were like, you have to be strict and planned and disciplined to make it work for you because you can get sucked in.
Well, the
And-
marketing from the company is the wins. They're not marketing how you lose in that whole equation.
Yeah, they're not saying, oh yeah, but the annual fee comes around and that's where we make it up. Or they don't say, oh yeah, we give you this, but then we charge you heaps of interest, so we're still ahead. They don't tell you that, but it's the facts.
Have you ever used Afterpay?
No,
No,
nah.
I haven't either.
And that's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bridget, my partner, was in a shop the other day and went to buy something. And I know she saw a T-shirt and they were like, oh, it's $70. And she was like, I'm not paying $70 for a T-shirt. Like, we have $70 to our name, but she's like, it's not worth $70 to me. And the shop assistant goes, oh, well, you can just put it on Afterpay. And Bridget's like, no, I'm not saying I don't have it now. I'm saying that thing is not worth 70.
Yeah.
And the girl was like, yeah, but you just put it on Afterpay then. And you're like,
Wow.
the person selling it was just like, oh, it just Doesn't matter what it's worth. You just put it on Afterpay.
Some of the most depressing statuses on the Barefoot Investor Facebook page, like the forum.
Yeah.
Just the debt that people have around those instant pay websites.
Madness.
What is there? There's another one like Nimblet or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
ZipPay?
ZipPay. Yeah, they're all very similar. I mean, my brother invested in Afterpay in the early days.
Ooh, how's he going with
As
that?
in he bought runners using Afterpay.
No, he invested. His mate told him you should get on this,
Yeah.
and he did. And he's already seen dividends from his investment.
Have you guys ever got a hot tip, not got on it, or got off it too soon and it's blown up?
Oh.
I remember when I was a kid, we were at like a family friend's house and this guy was saying that he worked for a company that was about to be acquired by Microsoft in like the next few days. Yep. And I remember I would have been like 12 at the time. I just remember nagging at my dad. I'm like, Dad, just put 30 grand down. And like, we didn't have any money.
Sure, I'll just find
I was just like,
Fabulous jacket.
I was just like, just do it. Just like, Dad, I know,
Yeah.
like, listen to what he's saying. Just put the 30 grand. I don't know what ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was probably
So
a scam.
a couple of my mates, you guys would know them. I'm not going to say their names because it's quite embarrassing. Put 100, one put 150, another put 50 into this thing where they had a tip off. It's essentially insider trading though, unless it's.
It is insider trading.
But when is it classed? If
you're not in the inside and
so
find
if you
out,
actually don't work for the company, when does it become insider trading?
Oh,
What's
I
the
don't know,
definition of
because
insider trading?
There's lots of
Mr. 97, you can be
brothers
on
of
to
the
that.
CFO, and Roxy Jasenko's husband went to jail for a year for tipping off a mate or something.
Really?
Like if you get caught, if it's from the
So
inside.
I knew where this tip came from, and I don't know. He didn't work for the company,
Yeah.
but these two dudes invested.
It was distant enough. How'd
And
they
it's
go?
I watched the stock, so it did rise. It's probably from their input, their equity, but it's fucked. I don't think it will come back. It's like 20 cents, no less.
And what was it?
Oh, it was just some
No,
company.
but what, if it was at 20 cents, was it at... It doesn't
No,
matter.
not even. Like I could probably find it. It's fucked. It's fucked. It's like maybe it got to 20 cents and went to 5 or something. Like they totally lost their money. All the people, like my uncle, I remember invested in Telstra shares. They just bottomed.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Well, I don't think they used to be at like 80 or 90 or something bucks.
Telstra.
Yeah, they used to be really high.
right.
I mean, one of the things Josh and I have spent a good half an hour multiple times is just typing in the stock prices into Google, seeing you can press it like year to date, lifespan, and we're all just there going, oh, look at that fucking curve. Look at that
Pretending to-
increase. Oh, Apple
Imagine
shares.
if,
Woo!
I was going to, it's always I was going to invest
Yeah.
X amount in this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's like going to the horse races though and going, oh, I was going to put my money on that.
Talking about the horse races, did you see the AFL player who threw a shoe? Who was,
it
this
AFL
Gronk?
player? Yeah, it was someone
it Reece
Greater
Palmer?
Western Sydney or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's-
and then the day after he's in intensive care right now.
really?
Oh, geez.
The day after,
What happened to him?
I think something happened. I think he was hit.
Walked
and
on
knocked off
glass,
his motorbike
no.
or something.
Really?
Yeah,
The
he had a-
horse threw the shoe back.
He had a big weekend.
He had it. Yeah, that's not an
Jeez.
ideal weekend. Maybe
Poor
that's why
bugger.
everyone went quiet. But on Twitter, people were absolutely slamming him.
Yeah,
Slay.
I don't know. People have just finished AFL. I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
hard time in someone's life. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, so he'd finished up his career.
Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Oh, he'd be at the age where he'd be close if he hasn't
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
he finished his career over the weekend.
Well, if you're throwing a shoe drunkenly a week before round one, you're probably not.
Yeah.
playing.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Did you find it, Mr. 97?
Yeah, so the insider has to be either a director or a senior officer of the company or an entity that owns more than 10% of voting shares.
Really?
So if
That's
it's
real
low,
broad.
if it's
Great.
low level, then it's
So I could
not
roll in
in-
here and just say, "Oh, I just came from SCA."
The reality is it's there
off
because
it.
most secondhand tips outside of that are probably shithouse. Like how many people are actually best mates with the CEO getting the tip and then telling you,
Yeah.
not probably the case all the time,
Yeah.
but that's where they know in advance what's going to happen.
I want to
Yeah.
know how much people got the early investors into Gimlet.
Oh, yeah,
so
which
Gimlet-
just sold
For
Chris
two-
Saka and all that. Like he
Yeah.
was one of the venture capitalists who
Well,
he
he
spoke
would
to.
10x'd his money. That's
Oh,
all
and then
that,
some.
what they all want to do.
$200 million Gimlet was sold to Spotify for. Is that what we're thinking for big media company?
Uh,
Like they started out as just one podcast doing a thing and it just got sold for 200 million. That's not crazy. Like that just happened.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing the same.
Well, I think so. You got like Gimlet Media.
I
so as
saw
soon
your
as-
eyes just go,
well, as
"Ooh,
soon,
200
so
mil."
any company that is trying to get venture capital
Yeah.
injection
Yeah.
is essentially trying to sell out at some point.
Yep.
And Mark Burris, that the mentor,
Yep.
he was. I went and saw him the other week. and he was saying to thousands of people, he's like, you need an exit plan from day one. And what does that mean? It wasn't like work out the figure you're going to sell for, but it's like have the exit plan of how you're going to transition into doing something else, which means you need all your ducks in a row, which makes sense. He's like, you don't have to use your exit plan, but just knowing what your company's worth and knowing all your systems and everything in place, then you can act on it.
I need to put an extra question then, because I told you that the jacket's not just the front. I have prepared a quiz for.
Oh, perfect. Do you use Evernote? Do you?
I do use Evernote.
Do you like Evernote?
Right now? I do, and I'm just adding to it exit plan.
Exit plan.
How often do you?
Every day. I've run my life off, not my life, but my work life off Evernote.
I dreamed of doing that.
Do people care about this
Dream
stuff?
big, bro.
I don't know
Evernote.
My dreams were for selling my company for 200 million. What about you? I just wanted a really well planned app with my ideas.
No, well, definitely. Like Evernote, because Tim Ferriss is a
note taking fiend.
No, dude, I jumped on Evernote when Tim Ferriss was flogging it too. I got onto it. I was like, my workout plan, everything's going to be here. I have all the data. And if you do use these things, they fucking work. The receipts, do you use
sometimes
receipts? Okay, sometimes it's probably not ideal. You need to use it all the time.
I want it to get to a point where it's like, if someone asks a question, I just say, I don't know, I'll have to check Evernote. Like I want it to have every answer of everything.
I know. Yeah, I use it for all my ideas. Well, most of the people that listen to this show, I mean, there's a lot of creative types and media people, right? This isn't completely boring to them.
No.
Okay, great. So I've got like a list of ideas. And so I've got like the Heidi, Xavier and Ryan show.
He's got 3 notes.
Heidi, Xavier and Ryan show, Ryan Jon, life and dreams, other shit. And then I've got lots of like dumb ideas and stuff. And this is what happens. I meet with someone, they go, hey Ryan, we want you to do a video for us. Like here's the budget. Do you want to come back in a week with a few ideas? And I was like, actually let me look into Evernote. That's 4 ideas, good to go. And I've pitched people and sold the thing on the spot from Evernote.
Fucking great.
Like, this is maybe tens of thousands of dollars.
That's amazing. And so what's the...
Just go to evernote.com/Ryan Jon for your 10% discount.
No, I do. I really... I use at the moment IA Writer.
Isn't it not just to stylistically look good?
No, it's just no, that's what the jacket's for. But the IA Writer it's just like a note-taking app, but it goes into the cloud as well. But I do...
It does look good though. It's in that old typeface.
Yeah, it does look nice and you can full screen it and stuff. But I do like the idea of Evernote, but you really need to invest time. What's the big media company one that you have?
Well, the big media company... Yeah, there's a note for you guys.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Before I had whatever we were chatting about last time, I wrote down in here.
Great.
He's
He's got a file on us.
Yeah, and now I've got... Should I go through the notes for the most fabulous business coach ever?
Yeah, definitely. Hit us.
This is what I was doing during my show this morning, was researching what to do on the podcast today.
So are these questions for us, or is it just talking points?
Questions.
Yeah.
So here's the 5 things that I think are important.
Okay.
It was 4, but now it's 5.
It's turned into a Q&A.
Yep. The first one's a mix of strengths.
Yep.
Second is growth. Third is annual focus. 4th is accepting each other's negative attributes. And 5 is apparently now exit plan. So let's start at the start.
Okay, perfect.
1.
Is this our AGM? Sorry.
This is good. This is great. This feels like insider trading. I don't know.
Having the same strengths as your business partner isn't always the most productive. Sometimes you need to have your strong points cover the other person's weak points, and that's where you get synergy.
Yeah.
So the question is for you guys to discuss. Actually, we'll start with you, Josh. Josh, what can Tommy do that you can't?
Tommy
This is the problem with Josh. He doesn't think anything. But it's also why we're great, because that's just his thinking.
We'll get to you next, Tommy.
No, I think Tommy is very good at dealing with social situations and having multiple conversations going at once and having a lot of stakes in the ground, whereas I tend to can only do one. Only have one at a time.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing for business because there's lots going on.
Tommy,
what can Josh do that you can't?
How long we got?
How long? No, I think definitely it's the opposite to what Josh said. Like, he can be very single focused and put the blinkers on, and not consider anything, like tunnel vision in some of the things, which is amazing.
Slightly autistic.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes you just got to get it done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, good. Pass. First question. Second one.
If you want to throw any at Mr. 97 as well.
He can be the
do you agree with what they said about each other?
Yeah, Yeah,
Wanna
right.
add anything
I
else?
thought, Tommy, you were going to go with some like technical.
Oh, I mean, we got how
Well,
much
Mr.
time we
97,
got?
what technical stuff can't Josh do?
Oh.
Because keep in mind,
It actually just becomes a this stings for Josh because he prides himself on being very technical.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of. No, there's heaps of things. Final Cut Pro, I'm still getting my head around.
Yeah, Final Cut, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
or
answer.
even shortcuts in general. Premiere Pro.
Yeah, you're useless at
I just
shortcuts.
I want to be the guy who's got Evernote, have all my shortcuts in
Yeah.
Evernote,
Yeah.
but in reality, I'm a clicker and dragger. And
Well, I'm still learning. I've just started teaching myself how to edit, so I feel your pain.
Oh,
and I
okay.
watch someone who knows what they're doing. I'm like, that would have taken me hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 2 is growth.
great.
This is from the most fabulous business coach in the world. All small and new businesses strive for growth. However, there's different types of growth, different areas where you can grow, and different ways that growth can be measured. So I want to know if you're both on the same page for what growth you're striving for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count down from 3, and then you guys are going to shout out what growth means for Big Media Company.
Okay. The screen just went. Is it all okay, Mr.
It's just the
97? It's
battery,
just the
I'm pretty
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Okay,
good.
sweet. All right. So what area of growth are we striving for here? 3,
Well,
2.
wait,
It's a hard one to just.
But that's the thing.
I don't think
The
it's a
point
one-word
is-
answer.
The point is that you should know. It should be.
I
a
think
top of
we're
mind all
super
the time.
aligned. You
You beat the gun here. I need to count down.
Okay, we just
Don't
need to
tell
think.
a guy in this jacket how to.
Give me a
Okay,
second.
sorry.
There's going to be so many words that come up.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
We're a nimble
Originality.
team.
Who says
I
originality?
said originality.
You said
We're a nimble team.
That's original, I think was
an
the full
original nimble
sentence.
team.
So I think that we are super aligned on this because so you could look at business and go, the amount of staff is meaning you're growing.
Yep.
The amount of clients you're taking on is growth,
Yeah.
which
Revenue.
calculates to figures. But there's a school of thought of going, we can be a small team working with a little amount of people,
About
charging a lot amount of money.
Revenue per employee.
Yeah, I mean, they're very singular goals. But because you could then manage it and go, okay, well, Mr. 97 could make us $100,000 a year. Let's get 10 of him. There's $1 million.
Yep.
And what will that cost? It will cost blah, blah, blah. And so you could get into it like that. But it's like we're a small team that want to reach far, and we don't want to be bogged down by, things like staff, like high staff costs, multiple people. If we can keep it small, I think that's the thing people think that they need to do is expand the team to expand the business.
Where do you guys lie in terms of like business versus output? I.e., a lot of like startups are like, we don't need to make money for the first however many years. We just need to get members or listeners or whatever it is
Well,
that they're
that's
doing.
half of those people have had venture capital where they're like, we've got a runway for 2 years.
Yeah.
Where
How's your runway?
Yeah. Well, so I
getting
think
there.
I
It's
think
getting there.
we want to be bootstrapped, so we want to be independent, but we also want to make sure that we're utilizing ourselves before we add extra things in. So realizing it, like getting good at the foundation, and also that means with like Mr. 97 going, okay, he could be working on this. What else can we be doing? What's the limits that we can play in?
Yeah, how much we've looked at, like how much money is this small team can we make?
Yep.
And then we go, okay, let's reach for that, because we could not hit that and bring people on and go or scale up in a different way. But if we can hit the way that we're saying, it's big and it's small and gives us flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, not that this test is designed to fail, but you have passed that, and I kind of knew the answer. But like, you could imagine there'd be a lot of teams who start out kind of thinking they know what the other person wants, or and you could see how, like I said, there's many different ways to measure it. If some people are interested in different things, it can get real awkward real quick.
Yeah.
2 from 2.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a game show with this guy in the,
absolutely.
the coat.
I'd love to do a game show.
Yeah, I think you'd be a good host.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Have
host.
you done any auditions for game shows?
Yeah, I'm actually in the running to be the host of Who Dares Wins.
Really?
Stuff.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I decided that at 6 a.m. at the gay wedding when the sun was coming up, and I was like, you know
Oh,
what's
it's
going to
not
happen
even-
later? I'm going to fucking do this.
Oh, so you haven't
Okay,
yet
hasn't-
auditioned?
Well, I did the audition at the time in front of friends and family at
Fuck,
the wedding.
That was a good show. We've spoken about it on the show.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's a good show in itself, but then you get those nostalgia points, hence why it could work.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway,
I
there's an
just found
exclusive.
a photo recently of me and Tanya Zayada.
Stop
was
bragging.
Like the woman. Yeah, I know.
The the best thing about Who Dares Wins is it's pre GoPro. So you see them. I reckon the hardest part of them doing any of the real sort of high angle stuff where they're really far up is the fact they've got like a big fuck off camera on their helmet.
Yeah.
Like the amount of neck injuries that was going on.
The guy's hanging off the building with a boombox.
And it looks like a shot on a potato, but the amount of it's pretty crazy.
We kind of covered annual focus when we talked about growth because they're similar. So let's move on to accepting negative attributes. So when you sign up with a new partner, obviously you're like, they're great at this, they're great at that, I'm great at this, and you kind of match your strengths and stuff.
Yeah.
But a part of business relationships and life relationships is accepting that sometimes some people just have some annoying little habits and you just got to get over it.
Definitely.
So we're going to go one at a time and we'll start with...
Very quickly, Tommy and I had a discussion just earlier. Probably a 6 out of 10 in heat in regards to heat.
Yeah, Denka rub.
But a bit of Denka rub. But then I noticed in Asana, which is our project management tool, Tommy added the topic, things that people do to annoy you.
Oh, that was actually before. I wrote that before, I'm pretty sure.
Really? So I got that and I thought, I don't know if this is a subtle way.
No, definitely not. I will say before we answer this though, it's like a radio show where the two people are too similar. There's like no friction. Just what do you think of that? Yeah, I think of that.
I agree, mate.
So we've got to bring some friction.
It's so it creates some harmony having two people on the same, fucking sides or wavelengths. But then it's not the best. It
doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah, the outcome's not as exciting.
Give it a zip. Need something going on.
You need to.
Here we go.
Don't worry, the conflict is coming.
We'll push back.
We're going to start with Tommy.
Okay, great.
Now, I'm going to count down from 3.
Go hard.
And you're going to say...
Go hard?
Yeah, go hard.
Well, you're going to say what you think is the most annoying little thing that Tommy does.
Okay.
And
Can Tommy do it first?
No, but you're going to say what you think he's going to say.
Oh.
And see if you get the same answer. So we're focusing on Tommy first.
Okay, go on.
What you think Tommy is annoying and what you think Josh will say.
Okay.
I got it.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Spraying deodorant.
So Tommy said spraying deodorant. What do you spray deodorant in this small airtight booth?
Oh, fuck off, mate. Are you on his side?
You
said that was very biased, that answer.
Is that what you do though?
I spray deodorant out the back.
Does that annoy you when he does that?
It gives me asthma.
Well,
The guy's got asthma and you're spraying it in here?
Okay. When was the last time you used a puffer, Josh?
I don't know, when was the last time you sprayed deodorant? Probably 3 days ago. No, I don't own a puffer.
Yeah, so he's not an asthmatic, because if you're an asthmatic, you own a fucking puffer.
Actually, fuck.
I sprayed.
Reminder for everyone, because I need to do it straight after this. Ambulance cover. Make sure you keep your ambulance. I got a text message saying that mine's expired.
Shop around though for the best price.
No, there's only one ambulance, bro.
Who are you going with?
Well,
Uber.
Just
fucking
option.
Uber X?
No, but it's actually different in different states.
Really?
No, that sounds right though. There is only one ambulance service.
But
Don't
there
call
is
002. Very different. I'll get the upgraded one.
No, Victoria is different. It's New South Wales is different.
I said push back.
Yeah,
Because
you
if
said-
I ever complain to Tommy about the deodorant, he straight away pushes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that
'Cause he doesn't have
generally
asthma.
Tommy's instant reaction is nah?
No, it's only No, it's only when if I'm certain on something, sometimes there's a little bit of pushback.
Okay.
Which is, I think it comes to a good result.
Yeah.
Well, I think Tommy was saying if everyone's agreeable, then you just like it's a point of throwing
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great,
Well,
mate, whatever.
the only I'll critique my pushback is that I was talking to Conspiracy Jimmy, and he's telling me about how he plays devil's advocate with his business partner, and it's become a thing.
Yep.
Where he's just like, he launches into it. He's like ready for playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he's identified as it is that automatic entering into that space as negative, which I think there's a bit of that on pushback too.
Yeah.
You can always be pushing back, which it can bring good result.
Well, I think because I create there's so much velocity to my thoughts or whatever, right? So if I have something, it's like, I think part of the panic is I better say something now because otherwise it's going to happen.
Yep.
Would that be fair, do you think, or no?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to this. It's like being conscious in where you're giving pushback and why you're actually giving pushback. Do you actually honestly think that you need to give pushback? And then it's the velocity at which you enter a situation and being aware of how the passengers that get on board with what you've done. And so it is a hard one, but that's working it out. That's a business partnership.
I read something about the devil's advocate, and it was like, I wish I remember. It was like an Elon Musk, Seth Godin sort of original thinker kind of guy. Who said devil's
Josh
advocate.
Janssen kind of bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My blog. He's actually quoting my blog.
Devil's advocate is bullshit because you're telling someone to be negative and they don't even have to put their name to it. And I'm a bit like, if you're going to come back and say it's fucked, at least have the balls to say that's what I think instead of going, Devil's advocate.
Okay, so you're saying people coach their opinion in the devil's advocate.
Well, they use the word
tag.
devil's opinion because they're like, oh, I don't want to be
Devil's
negative.
advocate.
If you say, oh, just be devil's advocate, then you're like just telling him to shoot it
No,
down.
I think it's a way to. I mean, I'm not
What's a bit
questioning
protect
Elon
yourself?
Musk.
Remember, you were playing devil's advocate the other day to pedophiles, and so
Not the
it's
best
a way.
person to. So actually, that is the fucking embodies the devil, a pedophile.
Yeah.
And so
and
if
you were
you're going
in
on
that moment, you were advocating it.
yeah.
There's
Do you want to retract? Like, I think.
Look, I don't know. We'll get Mr. 97 to close the loop on that one.
question 4.5.
I don't
Now-
condone pedophiles. You're all fuckwits if you are one.
all of our listeners, like, I like that. No, they're not watching. We don't have pedophiles watching
Mate,
the show.
if one of you watch, please stop watching and fuck off.
Yeah.
Well said. Now we turn our attention to Josh. Josh, on the count of 3, you're going to say what you think Tommy thinks about what you would do to annoy him.
Wait,
Tommy,
give me-
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
on 3, you're going to say what annoys you about Josh.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Okay. This is the second last
Too
question
many
of the
things, too
most
many
fabulous
things.
business coach.
Okay.
No, yeah, this is
3, 2, 1.
Unpredictable.
drinking your water bottle.
So let's start with you. What it really
This is
shits
one
you
of
when you
the-
drink
so
out
this
of
is
a
How
water
am I
bottle.
meant to stay hydrated? You fuckwit.
No, I will say, who do you spend the most time around? I'm sure you've had this. Your co-hosts. I reckon Josh and I spend way more time together than you and your co-hosts.
Oh, 100%.
So-
I haven't seen my co-host for a week.
You know, when growing up, I think the closest example is when I was growing up, and you'd be on holidays, and you've got your mate that you love from school.
Yeah.
And you're spending like 2 weeks together, fucking in each other's pockets. That's the relationship Josh and I have because we do this thing 5 days a week, soon to be 7, and then we fucking.
And you're texting, you're
We're texting, we're working together,
Yeah.
we speak. My son always thinks Josh is on the phone because he mostly is.
Yep.
Is that Josh? So there's little things
they get-
that you just, they're so trivial.
And that's why it's important and part of the
They're
business
so
school, is
trivial.
accepting the negative attributes.
Tommy's been doing lately.
Yeah, that's annoying. I felt
your
like.
thing?
No, that's fucking Tommy's. I'm not a gronk. I'm drinking my water and he's going.
But it shits you how he drinks his water or the water bottle?
Yeah, just the little bubble that. Can you drink the water?
Are you kidding me?
Can you just.
Like, do you want me to? Because the thing is, I
no,
think
no.
the reason why the
Please
sound
pop it
happens.
and bubble it.
Well, I
just
think-
do it. Just do it.
I think the reason why it happens is because whenever I'm drinking, it's a panic that I've realised I haven't had enough water today. So it had this is
So you get to hear and
Hang
then
on,
you go,
have a
am
listen.
I hydrated?
Have a listen. Imagine this 10, 20 times a day.
That's annoying. That's so annoying. I appreciate that you tried to do that all in front of the microphone, but you looked fucking weird.
was it not? What is the annoying bit? If I was to make it stop it being annoying,
No,
what
there's
is
nothing.
it?
I want you to continue, and it's something I have to deal with. But that's why I was going to bring it up because it's funny.
Wrong way.
Josh, you said unpredictability. Are you?
Annoying, but funny at the same time.
You said unpredictability. Do you think you sometimes are a bit of a Yahoo, and
What
Tommy
does
doesn't know what you're doing?
What does that mean? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I go through. I'm a little bit manic depressive, so I go real like undiagnosed, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But the lows aren't like negative on the world. I think that's where it's like the scale of the manic depression just is referring to up and down.
Yeah.
Because you don't go into these
I don't go
pits of
super
hell
dark.
where we're all fucked and this show's going nowhere.
no.
But does Josh come in and then you'll be like, oh, it's one of those days. I'll just be cool.
No, it's more flying through the doors to do something big. Which
Yep.
see that like you could look at that as a positive and a negative.
Yep.
The negative is the fucking passengers that you take, or the fucking what do you call it? The casualties that you create.
Casualties is so
Casualties,
dark.
yeah, well, it's
we're doing a podcast. We're not at a fucking war.
No, but I mean, this
Not with
is
that
our
attitude.
war. This
Yeah.
is our low-level fucking
Yeah.
fight as small business owners.
Yeah, sure.
So there is that, but that's not. I see it as a more positive than a negative thing.
Well,
It's just the water bottle thing. If you stop that, it'd be fucking. We'll get you a
can't believe
Camelback.
I'll say
No, but
that's
it's
a pass for point 4.
Oh, great.
Because then the whole point of it is accepting the negatives,
Yeah,
and also just being open and honest about them. Because sometimes it is something like the water bottle that 5 years later, Tommy's here twitching.
Yeah,
What broke the business?
And he
What
could've-
broke the big media company? The water water bottle.
Well, I nearly lost the water bottle. I did lose the water bottle.
You're going to lose it when I leave the here because
Yeah.
I'm taking it with me.
No, well,
Throwing it onto
I
Easy Street.
I got a thermos and a water bottle, and the thing was that
Thermos, how old are you?
thermos is a real hipster. They're cool.
It's not cool.
No, you should see the thermos I have. It's quite premium looking.
It does look cool. It's not one of the big ones that was
see at the
seen on
footy.
the building
Yeah.
site.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
from the footy.
Yeah,
Going to the
soup.
MCG.
all the time, but
Did you go to the
have some chicken
MCG with a blanket on the hardwood?
Waverley, because I was Hawthorn,
Ah,
man. But that was
Waverley.
cold as, so
You-
we definitely had
thermos.
thermoses. Nana
Yeah.
would make that before we
Yeah,
went out.
Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Final one. What is the big media company exit plan? Because as
Oh, yeah.
Mark Boris once said
Yeah.
at a conference last week,
Yeah.
you have to have one from day one.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
So we'll say in the count of three.
Oh, might as well.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
write it down. So 3, 2, 1.
Blow up.
Spotify. Mine's more optimistic than
Do you mean
Josh's.
blow up as in like we're blowing up, or do you mean actual? Like,
mine was more sort of a funny blow up, like the idea
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
just
We're
fucking-
done.
Yeah, we're done.
And mine was a $200 million acquisition from Spotify.
I think it'll probably I reckon.
We'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
obviously, you don't have to answer, but just the question of have you guys actually had a conversation
Nah.
of like what in 5, 10, where does it go?
It's not like I think we're building out the business around systems, so making it very sort of streamlined what we're doing and taking anything that could be a system and turning into a system so then we can focus on the creative stuff.
Yep.
It's
And
a good
then-
exercise to take everything you do, just as a top line heading, write it onto a board, the stuff that you don't have a system for.
Yeah. What's
The
the
stuff that's in
problems?
your
What's the
head.
frictions? What can we
I was
fix?
saying this to someone last week about our show of like if everyone wrote down everything they did every day and then crossed out the stuff that didn't really matter. Like
That's a good one.
I reckon a lot of people do a lot of stuff that they're like, oh yeah, what do we actually do that for?
Yeah.
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 Well, yeah,
100%.
I think that we're in the unique position that we're building something from scratch too.
Yep.
And because of that, we don't have all that legacy shit that can happen. Like, you start a job and it's like, oh, I have to do this and I do
Yeah,
that.
we started doing that, so we still do
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
dude, it was in Shepparton and we were like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And so we cut back on heaps of stuff. But that's, it'd be the case across the board.
So I think that we're, if anything, the reason that people would be interested in not even acquiring us, but working with us is the systems and the knowledge that we have around what it takes to do innovative content for a long period of time.
Well, as Mark Boris said, you can't sell a business if you don't have systems in place. What are you buying? And that's what I think that was his emphasis around exit plan is unless you get your shit worked out, no one's going to, what are they buying?
Yeah.
How are they buying into
Well, if
a
they're buying
media
the
company?
two of you, but you're not going to be there anymore, then what's left?
Well, exactly.
It's the
Yeah.
system.
There's no system in us. I think, it's
There was a guy who used to play AFL who created an app.
through a shoe. No, not the same guy.
A different guy. He created an app that was sort of like the Uber of drink. So at
Yeah.
1 a.m. you can be like, oh, we'll order a 6-pack.
And it
someone will
comes
drop
with
it off.
mints and water.
Look
Possibly.
it up. Melbourne Football Club player.
Yeah, but this guy...
Wait, that's all
sold-
you want him to Google?
Look at that. Melbourne Football Club player alcohol delivery or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
it'll
Just
come
look
up.
up that. You'll find it.
Is it
Trust me.
Tipple? No.
No, I don't think it
Okay.
is.
But basically, someone bought the app for hundreds of millions. This guy
Yeah.
Really?
loaded, and they're like, "Oh, you want to buy our alcohol delivery thing?" And he goes, "No, we don't care about delivering alcohol or anything, but just this database management system in the back end is the little thing we've been missing for our business." So they purchased the whole thing.
I can imagine that happening to us and they say, all we want is Mr. 97. That would be
Well, what was
spewing.
the thing you used to put your ideas into that's not Evernote?
Asana.
They just come to you and go, "The way you've laid out your Asana,
Yeah.
here's 10 mil."
No,
Do we
they
have an
don't
answer on
want
that
it
guy?
right now.
Yeah, Joel McDonald. Get
Yeah.
Swift, $100 million.
Yeah, but look at the negative stuff around that. Not to bring him down.
But that's exactly what you're doing, devil's
Oh,
advocate.
dude, no. There was some bad shit going on. He was, hang on. I don't want to misquote, but
you do.
That was the headline I heard, and then I heard the follow up, which was something pretty bad.
100 million.
But I mean, that's crazy.
I missed the 97.
Crazy. He's worth every cent.
What do you reckon have you had any more clarity around what you will do after radio?
Nah, I don't know. So this is my last year, and so I don't
Contracted
know.
in. Is that how you talk?
Like
you talk like you're done?
Like a footy player.
kind of, yeah. Oh, just
No, more like an F1 player.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a contract, you're not playing.
Geez, after
not-
watching the
I guess it's the
F1,
same
we
with footy.
watched the first episode of F1
Yeah.
like on Netflix.
Was that really good? I thought
Yeah,
it was great.
And
yeah.
Brie was getting into it. She's like, we're driving along. She's like, I was like, what? Like
Yeah.
what Mr. 97 does, overreacts to things.
Yeah.
She's like, I wonder how Ricardo went.
Yeah.
And then we looked it up, and he
Exactly.
He retired. From the race.
DNF
Did not finish.
Yeah.
He fucked it.
So I don't know. I think
Yeah,
for me,
nor would you schedule.
I got to get to a gay wedding. I got a jacket to wear. I finished at the end of the year, and I don't know if they want me back. So
How does that feel? Because that's very like have you delved into Seth Godin stuff?
yeah, not on that topic.
Well, his
though.
ethos of being picked and choosing yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm big into choose yourself, and that's what I love about you guys. You didn't wait for a company to be like, hey, can you guys do a daily podcast?
Yeah.
We're actually being funded by SCA as like an incubator.
But you do the same. You're a content creator.
Yeah.
You know, you're learning how to do editing and
Yep.
things like that. So you're picking yourself in many aspects, and then you work for a company that decides that you are the one.
Well, I'd say
Neo.
I don't choose myself, but I choose my content. So I kind of go, hey, radio, I've got a great idea. And they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, I'm still going to choose it and do it over there.
It's on Evernote.
Yeah, it's on Evernote.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, and I like that the Shameless girls, they mentioned it on one of their podcasts that they were a bit like the same. Pitched to Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia was like, nah. And they're like, well, we're not going to wait for Mamma Mia or podcast one to choose us. We're just going to choose ourselves. And do it. So I'm a big subscriber to that. But the reverse side, it is weird kind of going to work going, I don't know if these guys want me. And I don't know if I'm going to
Do you get a sense who's going to...
Well, I just got a new boss.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a whole new...
I mean, it's in their best interest to make you all feel like you're there next year. So you rock up feeling good. Because once you know...
Well, on the first day this year, in a meeting, it was like, well, it's the last year of the show. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh,
and I'm the
really?
only one out of contract. So I was like, okay.
That's interesting. But that was with a
last
different...
year-
That was a
like, oh, this
different
day-
CD?
Yep.
Lots of changes, though. Your co-host is about to have September about to have a baby.
Yeah, so who knows? The long distance relationship is a factor.
Yeah, the dog BJ.
Dog BJ. If Bridget is or is not pregnant, because we've been trying for a long time, so that would be...
What does that entail?
Well, what
Long
you do
distance.
is
Yeah.
I've heard rumours. But I haven't really thought about it. And it's the first time ever I didn't know what I was doing the following year.
Yeah.
Ever, probably.
Yeah. Well, you're in March, so you've still got a few more months.
Yeah. Well, someone once said to me, if you don't know by October, the answer is nothing with the place you're
If
with.
they don't tell you.
You don't just get to November and go, oh, were you guys supposed to chat about my
Oh,
contract? And they go,
interesting.
yeah, just let us know when you're free. And you're like, oh, we'll just start packing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Would you crumble, Josh, not knowing, like feeling... Because I could imagine...
Well, that's why I
maybe
don't think
feel shit
I
out.
could... That's why I don't know if I would do the whole thing, because I reckon I would just be like... I think I'd probably go... Yeah, good question.
Isn't this riskier though?
No, well,
I
no, I
look at
think,
you guys
I think
driving
the thing
the
is,
ship.
we get to we know, like, even if we are like hitting to a brick wall,
Yep.
at least we have control over like the pace in which we're going to do it.
Yeah.
The idea that the unknown, so it feels like we can keep building, and it's this momentum.
Yeah.
I would feel like the unknown of whether I'm going to be there next year would add a huge amount of drag to the momentum.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm like envious of guys like yourself and Michelle and I forgot her and what was the other girl's name?
Zara.
And any people and lots of people over the last... Christian just quit his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like jealous of those people because I would love...
You could do it.
I could, but it's so lame, but I like a routine. I like knowing what I'm going to get paid next month.
We could give you a routine.
Yeah.
We can guarantee how much you can get paid as well.
Will be as much as I want. Will I be able to afford jackets like this?
You'll be able to wear whatever you want to work.
Yeah, well, I can't do that now. If that's the one selling point for
yeah.
leaving radio is that you can wear whatever you want. That's
Yeah.
not going to sell it.
I mean, what's the thought around stepping? There could be a side step to get a forward step in terms of...
Yeah, well, we kind of mentioned that in the last episode where sometimes it's tricky to get your like stuff off the ground, and you kind of think if I left the company, I could go and do all this great stuff. They'd be impressed by it and want to hire me back.
Yeah.
Which is
But is
the
that
most
still the thinking of wanting the person to pick you for doing the thing?
kinda, I guess. Well, like I said, pitch it to them if they don't want it. I'll just do it over there.
Yeah.
What have you learned about pitching? I've never pitched anything in my
I'm
life.
not good at pitching.
Yeah.
I need to get better because
Why aren't
I
you
have
good?
I have this big kind of concept, and sometimes it's hard to explain if people if people are like if it wants to be big and different. It's easy just to go smaller than what we know.
Yeah, sure.
And sometimes it's
Yeah, you can
if I
scare
go,
people.
"Well, I only know this,
Yeah.
and you're pitching that.
Yeah.
I don't, and I sort of go get a bit. Oh, fucking, you don't understand.
Well, there's this time of as creators of having the idea in your head, being able to communicate that to someone before you do it, or doing it having the skill to just be able to do it and then show someone and go, look, I told you so.
That's without the attitude-y, I told you so. But that has been my unofficial, like I've just gone and made stuff and then go, I can do a version of this again. And I can't tell you how many times I've pitched to a radio station. They've gone, oh, that's not for us. I've made it on Facebook and
they love
that hour. They're like, why aren't we involved in this? I'm like, I pitched it last week and you didn't want to know about it.
It's a strength you need to build, I think. Because I think it's a newcomer or I'm not there yet because I'm still come from that time of going, oh, look, if I just started working, I could show you what I mean.
Yeah.
Versus being able to show them or communicate the things that need to be communicated.
All my video income has come from someone going, I saw this video about this. Can you make that same sort of thing but with us?
Yeah.
And so...
Which loses creativity?
Not necessarily.
Well, I think it loses the need to... Pitch.
Okay, so you're
but
using
sometimes
that
it's broader in that they go, we saw you out in the road doing a thing.
Do your style.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
If you came to our business and could use anything that we've got to do something similar, what would you do? And then you pitch the ideas, which is a lot easier. And what I've said to some people, because I've made lots of videos from some and then I've spent lots on others and made zero. I'm like, oh, why would you spend the money? I'm like, because people see the one that you made and that sells the next job.
Yeah.
Like you can't be a TV station that just plays ads. Like you have to get the audience and the ideas with the programming and then you sell from there. So true.
Yeah, I heard Chase Jarvis talk about how you've got like, if you've always built like small sculptures and that's all you've ever built, it's going to be hard to go to a client and say, hey, I want you to give me a bunch of money and I'll like build a big sculpture for you.
Yeah.
You really have to like spend your own money, build the big sculpture, show it, and then say, hey, I can make one for you too.
Well, there's a lot of YouTubers who want to be, are in effect filmmakers because they make short YouTube films.
Yeah.
But exactly what you just said, I reckon it's hard to justify the leap of going, I'm a YouTuber, check out my stuff, it's great.
Yeah.
Let me be in charge of a 400-person crew and make a feature film. It's just like, no, you've got experience doing that thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, a lot of people get into that because it's the entry to film and it probably is, but you're right. Somewhere along the lines, there has to be some faith.
Yeah. I mean, then there's the fine line of going challenge that as a creator and go, what does that actually look like? If anything, early days you land jobs and then prove to yourself that you can do them. The harder thing down the track is the money. The budgets are huge. The promises are even bigger that you're making, and so I think this is between Josh and I. It's like, I've made a lot of fucking promises that I haven't known that I could fulfill, but I just knew inside that I could do them.
Figure it out, yeah.
And it's the decision down the track when you've done a lot more and you're speaking to bigger people. The fuck up's on you guys, which could ruin our business.
Yeah.
And so we're like, how do you do that? If we want to make a documentary, be funded to do it, or just do the documentary, fund it yourself and do it.
We fund it yourself and then hope that when you say, I want to make a different documentary, remember how good that last one was?
Yeah.
It's a risk.
There's like you can draw motivation from being paid for something. It could be a driving force.
Yep.
So you get some funding. It might not be big budget funding. So we could put together.
But then when it's not big budget funding, then it's like, why don't you just do it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You can always say the opposite.
Yeah.
Because it's always true.
Well, I just feel like what's the quickest thing that we can do to actually test something, right? Because there's a level of bullshit in any project where you're like, I actually don't know whether it's going to be good or not. Like that's part of the process is we make it and then we work out whether it's good. And so part of it is that I would just like to take that onus on myself because I'm like, oh, I'm cool. Like I believe in what we can do. Let's make it. And then maybe we sell it to you a little bit further down the track for more money rather than you investing early. It's probably not too dissimilar from bootstrapping versus taking venture capital.
Yep. What's the ideal? What's the biggest thing that you'd love to do, the two of you guys? I guess it depends how you describe big, because doing a daily podcast as a whole is ridiculous in effort. But like, is there?
What did you actually think on the daily talk show stuff when you sort from the outside looking in at what we were doing? Where do you sort of position it? What came to mind? Do you think is the 5 days is a bit is it a waste of time? Do you think for us? We haven't missed. We've done 306 at this our 306th episode. We haven't taken a survey break. Like we have literally not missed.
Well, I was here at Christmas and I was like, "Where's the Christmas break?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah.
Well, it's strange because it's
We're not all wearing bloody sequence tops and
Yeah.
prancing around on.
It's strange because it's not based on the content, but your point of difference is that it's every day, like, which is a weird point of difference, but it kind of makes sense. That's what the show's called.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and I think people would be like slightly impressed by that. And it is really one of those.
Can we quote you there? People would be slightly impressed by that. Ryan Jon
But
on the
in
Daily
a few
Talk
years
Show.
when stuff gets crazy, and people are going to go, "Oh fuck, how'd they do it?"
Yeah.
They're going to go, "Well, those guys rolled up their sleeves, chose themselves, and did it every day." And like you hear stories like Kobe Bryant had a day off, but every day he would go and shoot hoops for half an hour just
Well,
to like.
It's
you can't-
outwork everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm outworking everyone else because we get these times where we're
But
like,
turning up is more than
Yeah.
half of the job, and you guys turn up every day.
And I always do free throws on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
It's
Keep
true.
put in the work, boy.
Yeah.
So I like that, and like I said, I like anyone that's doing anything. And I think what cripples a lot of people, including me, a lot of the time, is you could have spent an extra year trying to figure out exactly what it is, or you can go, let's just start and it'll figure itself out. I guess in theory it probably still is. In 3 years you look back and go, oh fuck, remember when that sequin guy used to come on? We used to let him in the room.
Yeah.
And now look, he's a co-host. No,
Well, look, he's cleaning our floor and we don't even remember his name.
no, what's if you were to do a bit of SWOT analysis on it, or looking forward at where it's all going? What do you think? Like, if we were to actually, because part of it is like, oh, we could just do more. Like, we could do 7 days a week. That's one thing that we're talking about and working towards. Or it's like we could add other components. What can you add at this point? Like, what can we add to the show to actually make it better?
Well, I reckon what might work, and this is just off the cuff, but I am the most fabulous business consultant in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are great at making videos, both in like storytelling and also just the visual and technical stuff. And I don't foresee why there's any reason why, just like radio stations tried to do, is incorporating, like obviously we're filming the episode now, but actually doing stuff out on the street, and because it's a lot easier to sell a video than it is to sell a sponsorship for a podcast.
Yeah.
But leveraging the audience you've already got, I'm sure there's fun videos and stuff you could do. And that would be a revenue driver and just another way to be visible. And you never know, similar to the 7-Eleven thing, where I was credited as being a co-host of this podcast.
Yeah,
Thank
that's-
you.
that's
But
one of
you
the
never know.
funniest
We were
trolls.
talking about this before the show, actually. We're like, you never know what someone's entry point's going to be. So videos have a tendency to spread and go viral if they can. Whereas it's rare that a podcast episode, unless Elon Musk smokes a joint, that a podcast episode's going to go viral. But
Will you smoke a joint? It is a sure way to lose your job.
light it up. I'll do it. It's
Light
a
it
gay
up,
wedding all weekend. It'll be the least of my concerns. But I don't know, that just might be a way for people to find the podcast numbers to increase. So I think that's because you've already got the skills. I reckon that's an easy way to explore and monetize.
I reckon, okay, so if we were to do a video today, I have an idea.
Yep.
I bought this item about 4 years ago when I was in the US. I like to buy something for Bree when I go away, but not like the obvious, not the obvious sort of shit. And so I was in this store and I found this thing. It's a running parachute. And so
It's one of his most stupid purchases.
yeah, so it's a running parachute. Anyway, I thought it would be perfect for Mr. 97 to strap it to and see how we would go running down Easy Street.
Is it supposed to be a bit to make like a resistance training essentially?
Yeah. It's meant to be. Can I just read something that's on there?
Yeah.
So I saw this.
It's Filler brand.
And I looked underneath and it says, warning, this product may contain a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer or birth defects or other reproductive harm.
We just don't eat it. The thing is that
it's not an edible item.
in California, they have them everywhere. You go to Disneyland and they actually have signs saying there's, because
This place
alcohol,
causes cancer.
if you're at a bar or whatever, they'll have signs there. So anyway, how do we feel about making a video now? We'll go downstairs. What does it smell like?
You should do that
Don't
anyway, just
smell-
because I'm curious to see it.
Yeah.
But I guess what does your audience want to see? How do you serve them?
It smells.
Do they need it? I mean, they'll watch it, but
They
do they
definitely-
need
Who's
to
it
see
for
it?
and what's it
Absolutely.
for?
Absolutely. We definitely. Who's it for? What's it for? It's for me, and it's
To get use
Yeah,
out of the
exactly.
silly purchase Josh made.
yeah. What's it for?
I think it'd be funny. Maybe we can put the sequence jacket on Mr. 97.
Yeah, let's
and
go
he
for
runs with the parachute and the sequence jacket.
high end quality content.
I mean,
Before,
I need to get used to the jacket. I'm never going to wear it again. So.
Yeah.
before we
Must feel
do
nice,
that, with your weeks, do
Yep.
you find that the the start of the week you feel a certain way, then by the end of the week, do you have like
hungover and not hungover?
No, well, I'm just feeling like I notice that my moods, depending on the week, sort of flows through. Do you find that on a Monday you're energized, or on a Sunday that's when you have your existential crisis? What's like?
What's my week? It really depends what's going on, and it's a lot different now that I live alone compared to with Bridget, because the weekends used to be like, you know, picnics and dinners and
now
stuff.
now what is it?
Solo. Just
now it's
fireballs.
Tinder and fireballs. So yeah,
Fireballs.
so it's a bit different, but I don't know, it just depends, because I usually use a lot of the weekends to film stuff that I couldn't during the week and stuff. So I don't work full time every day, but I do something every day.
Yeah.
So the weekends, weekdays, it's all the sort of same to me. So I don't have that.
You don't get a sense of like your the way you feel on a Monday versus a Friday.
No, although the hours is hard. Like the first when you wake up on Monday and you're like, whoa, it's early.
Do you wake up early on the weekend as well?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but not as early. And just the pressure of no alarm, like it really makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what do you, TJ? What do you reckon? Do you find that different days of the week you have a different mood?
Monday I'm pretty fresh, only because now I don't drink, so that's not factored in.
Well, Gary V's big on his whole, you know, if you're just living for the weekend, like check yourself.
Yeah.
And like if you guys are enjoying what you're doing, I'm sure you're not getting to Thursday just being like, fuck, I can't wait for Saturday so I can get the fuck out.
Yeah,
of here.
100%. You
and
can't.
the same the other way around. You wouldn't get to Sunday night and go, oh, I have to go and do a podcast tomorrow. Like,
I do get excited on a Friday though when I realise that it's a Friday.
Yeah.
Like it's
Friday night.
Friday,
Fridays.
but it's also like
Is there not Friday's button?
No, there isn't. Unfortunately, not yet. There is we can play like a laugh for you. That's all we got. I've got to program them all. But no, I feel like I felt it last week that on Thursday night I was like, oh fuck, it's Friday
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that was
the first sign.
That was a good sort of it was a good vibe. It was like, oh yeah, and then I'll still work on some stuff, but it didn't feel like a real like
it's
crazy
culturally
weekend.
embedded in us though.
Yeah.
Think about school, all those days you're like working for the week, working towards the weekend.
Working for the weekend.
Do you get paid the same cycle? Like I remember it when I was working at the radio
what
station.
What date you paid, when you paid, how much you paid?
15th.
15th.
Yeah, great.
Every month.
And do you find that I remember that within the radio station, especially when you started to go down the junior roles, people were running out of cash.
It gets real tight in those from the 10th of the month.
Yeah.
Struggle
Monthly?
it gets real
Monthly,
tight.
yeah.
And but the craziness is, so I often buy, or everyone does, like Uber Eats for the whole team. And there's 8 of us, so that might be
on
like,
the 15th. Or
no, just any time. Like in mornings, 3 times a week, we probably get everyone toasties and coffees on Uber Eats.
Really?
And do a big order.
What the fuck?
You guys do it?
Yeah. And for the team.
This is like, because I know
Out of
Jay
your
Hughes.
pocket?
Out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some shows that they've got a budget for that. We don't. We'd rather spend it on, well, I don't know, there probably wasn't any budget, but I'd argue I'd rather spend it on the show.
Yeah.
But I do notice that a lot of the producers and stuff, like they'll rarely shout between the start of the month and the 15th.
Yeah.
But
So
between
the
15th
producers
and the
are
end,
getting involved as well.
they're involved. Like, so we started offering, and then after a while, they were like, oh, it's probably our shout.
Yeah.
They never say that on the
Oh,
14th.
really? Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Which is fair enough.
We could do that. We
Yeah.
could, you know.
Show toasties. Well, you guys offered me coffee when I
we
came
could get
in.
it.
Yeah,
Jack.
we'll offer Mr. 97. He'll knock it back.
Yeah.
Knocks back nearly everything we offer.
I
him.
did hear under
It's
his
a
breath, he
polite way.
said, pay for your fucking eggs and then I'll accept whatever
Got to
that.
ka-ching you.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Apple
is
Pay.
that
whatever.
laugh?
No, yeah, there's
That
there we go.
one?
I bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you panel your shows? or
I
no?
do, but not when I'm in Melbourne.
Okay.
So we had a
That's
new
good.
panel up last Friday and this morning because I've been in Melbourne for a bit. So new panel up, it went smoothly, which is good.
You just point at them when you want something played? Or?
Kinda. But the tricky thing is with, you know how some songs have the extended intro?
Oh, yeah.
And if it's like a 30-second intro and you can feel it wrapping up, I'll kind of fire the song and keep it low. And then if they don't, and so I'm sort of like,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah.
what? And then you get to the end of the break and you go, yeah, anyway, that's coming up next.
Oh, and then it goes
For
to
30
that.
seconds and it's like,
no.
oh.
Yeah, sure.
But apart from that, it's pretty easy. We're not an overly production heavy show, so it doesn't make a huge deal.
Yeah.
Paneling and stuff, but it is. Oh, sometimes there's some fun to be had that you can't do when you're not paneling.
Yeah.
How do you like being the panel up?
Oh, look, it's very minimal at the moment, but I do want, like, what I'm excited for is when we get camera switching happening and we have multiple, like, you know, when
You're
we
not going to camera switch off the desk though while you're
no,
chatting.
we won't be doing
no,
it.
Mr. 97
And
will do
here's
it.
my most important statement: zoom in on me.
Yeah, exactly. It would be
Now.
nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to do that. No, but
there's gonna
TJ
be
made
a
it.
lot of pressure on Mr. 97.
Yeah.
That is a lot of pressure.
Oh, 100%.
Imagine when he's running Channel 7 and you guys are still doing this
This is
podcast.
how you learn. You learn hard.
He's going to sit in on Fifi, Fev and Byron and watch that show getting done.
I was actually just about to say before he said that, I was like, you should come into SCA one morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be great. You should
He's
do
our
the
mole. He's
go
I mean,
with
SCA Melbourne, there was about 15 different breakfast shows there this morning.
Really?
I'm taking you for the tour.
Well, we need to.
Everyone's real lovely.
We need to
Yeah.
get him to Perth as well.
We can
go
just-
see show.
Or you can just stand in the middle of SCA Melbourne and be like, there's Triple M Sydney.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're all
There's
doing
that
them
many.
out.
There's my show in Perth. There's Limo doing Adelaide, I think. And there's Fox over there and Triple M. And there's 10 shows within, like, visible.
Yeah.
Make it to Metro and then do the show from wherever you want. That's what.
Here's Kate in Italy.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
the
it's great though
technology.
because it sets some heavy precedents. So when I say I've got a gay wedding, I need 2 days
I
down
love
the
you
line.
keep saying gay wedding. Like,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I'm wearing the jacket. It feels right.
Yeah.
But when it's hard for a network to let Carrie Bickmore do her show from home, from Kate to do it from Italy, and then say, Ryan, you can't do one show from Melbourne.
Yeah. The acoustics seem crazy too. Like the Carrie Bickmore one, I saw a Instagram post and they've got like just sticking stuff up on the wall trying to like tame, like you've got these expensive studios at SCA.
Multi-million-dollar studios.
Yeah. And then just people are...
Can you just stick a cardboard box against the wall so the sound stops bouncing? Yeah, it's madness. But
that's interesting. Mate, thanks for coming on the show.
Always a
Mate,
pleasure.
thank you.
Do you feel better off for the business advice?
It was actually, I really enjoyed that.
I like it. You get No, you get better
I
at.
feel like Tommy liked it less than I did.
No, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it's easy. Like when you're actually getting sure on more things, it's much more. It's a fun process to actually talk through this shit because you've got it in your head. We talk about it, and then when people ask you, you can actually talk the truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Because you're making it up so much along the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Early days, and so those questions 6 months ago. What?
One thing I am envious of is that like I don't have a business partner, and I would love a daily like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Often I just spend time thinking about it myself.
Yeah. But you got to be okay with them saying, "No, it's fucking
But
dumb."
thinking like, I need some help with ideas, but you have to agree.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah, you
quite work that
you
way.
gotta. What do they say? I was gonna say you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Sure, I can.
You can have your cake. You can eat it sometimes, but sometimes they'll say no more cake.
Do I look like a guy that's missed a bunch of cake in the last couple of years?
How's it? You did F45, did you, or no? What did you do?
Yeah, I don't anymore though.
How was it?
I moved. It was hard for me because of the hours.
Yeah. Is Bridget still doing it or no?
Nah, but when it's harvest for winemaker, she's ripped. She looks unreal.
Why during harvest? What does that mean? What
She's
does she do?
a winemaker, so she's carrying barrels. She's walking up and down ladders. She's in the fields for hours. She's walking around picking crap. Like it's a physical job.
I mean, I'm seeing her rig shots, but they're on your account. You're posting a rig constantly.
I couldn't believe it. I saw her for the first time in 5 weeks, and I was like, "Oh my god, you
5
are
weeks?
so hot!" Yeah,
Wow, that's a long time.
yeah. It was the longest stretch just gone.
What can you
and I
say?
noticed the
What can you
difference.
say right now that will definitely get you fired so you can come over and see her more often? No, I'm joking. Don't look at him. You want
He's
I was
thinking,
ready.
he's
Don't tempt
thinking
me. I've
about
had
it.
such a great time. I love being over here.
Yeah.
So don't. I mean,
Did it
have
bring
me-
the pressure
have me
on?
on in October?
Did it have the pressure when you saw Bridget and she was looking hot to be like, fuck, I need to go and do something other than wank on the couch at home?
Well, no, because she was there.
No,
Well,
as
do I need to
when
work out?
when you're in Perth on your own,
Oh, nah.
gotta go.
I mean,
You're
I go through
okay.
phases daily where I'm like, I'm going to start getting fit again. And then that's 5 years in a row and that has not happened. Yet.
Wait, you were an athlete.
Yep.
So can you explain? Because I think we got this at the very end.
So
last time.
you definitely would have known this parachute thing that we've got in front of us.
It's rare you see me without it.
Wait, so were you volleyball?
Volleyball, yep.
Beach volleyball? Are there two types of volleyball?
Yeah, I played a little bit of beach, but indoor was my main one.
And what's the cultural difference between indoor and beach?
Indoor.
Oh,
Beach, they've got better tans.
Yeah, no, beach is fun. There's music playing. You don't have to have shoes. There's way less injuries because the
Way less
the sand is
clothes.
Why
soft.
couldn't you just do beach instead of indoor? You didn't have a beach close by.
Well, yeah, I lived in Melbourne, which isn't a huge beachy area, and I didn't live near the beach. And also, it's sort of, I'm not that tall. I'm only 6 foot, and when you can afford 1 or 2 small guys in a team of 6 in indoor, but when you play beach,
It sounds like they're making a sacrifice having you
Yeah,
on.
we'll bring the short prick
Was it-
on.
is it
well,
like-
it's more there's different positions. So I wasn't a hitter or a blocker.
Okay.
What were
but,
you?
I was a setter, which you setting it. It's sort of like the quarterback. So you're setting it to the hitters and stuff.
you-
Whereas in beach, you're everything. You can't hide a small guy.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
does everything in beach. Where there's no positions in beach, but indoor there is.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So the setter is sort of like in cheerleading, you'd be the one that
Well,
pushes
you throw
them
it
up.
to the hitters, and I guess the game is they've got their blockers, you've got your hitters, so you've got to kind of maneuver,
Sure.
that around.
Did you do it international level or?
Yeah. So I played for Australia, in Serbia, in Europe, and then a US college, And then I played in Malaysia and French Polynesia for a bit.
Fuck, that's
Shit,
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Did you get any bad injuries or anything?
Oh shit, yeah. I've had 3
His
shoulder
Shoulder's
reconstructions.
fucked.
This finger is fake. See that scar there?
Oh,
That's
can I
mean?
can I
got
feel it?
Yeah, and I got a fake. I
Wait,
feel
What do
Well,
you mean
before I
your finger's
touch it.
fake?
What do you mean the thing? Yeah,
So-
before I touch.
So
Prosthetic?
I broke it like 10 different times, and they said there's more callus and cyst than there is bone in there. So we're just going to take the bone out and replace it with. They got a little bit of my wrist, and then they got coral because coral calcifies. So they got the coral, a bit of my wrist, made a new finger, and you can see there it doesn't quite bend
Oh, yeah.
as much as the other one. And I've got
Can
a
we-
fake hip as well.
Can we give you a nickname? I feel like the Reef or something. The Great Barrier
Aquaman.
Aquaman. Is that
Aquaman,
actually? Can I feel
yeah.
it? So does it
feels the
feel
same.
weird?
No, that
Can
feels-
have you got any feeling in it or is it gone?
Yeah. What does that feel like?
I mean, it
Me
feels like there's a
squeezing.
guy holding your hand on a podcast.
Okay. It was a single finger. It was a single finger.
But my hip, I wake up sometimes with a sore hip because that's not
Stiff
real.
hip.
Yeah, but it was weird. In the I was 21 when I got it, and I was like 80-year-old, 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 21-year-old. So I was very popular on
Yeah.
the ward there.
Oh, really?
I've seen the photo of you in the war.
Oh, holding the scans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I looked good back then, didn't I?
Yeah, he's ripped.
Yeah, well,
6 foot
Wait,
ripped.
can you
They
run
were
and
good
stuff?
days.
Because I always see people where it's like, yeah, I've had like 6 reconstructions of different things, and now I'm running a marathon, and it actually gets me excited because I'm like, hey, I've got like nothing wrong with me. Maybe I could do it.
When I walk to the bathroom in the morning, it sounds like a hip hop concert because it just cracks. And
Oh,
like
really?
Like
but you
everything's
can. The
cracking and
answer is
going.
yes. You can
Yeah.
have a full knee reco and come back
Fine,
and
yeah.
play another season.
Yeah,
I don't know what you'd play. Another season of the podcast.
yeah.
And so, but you don't do any more volleyball.
No, I the injuries caught up with me, and I was sort of not that good in that. Do you push on through injuries so you can play in the 3rd division in Belgium for 10 grand? Like I wasn't going to be worth it anyway. When
Yeah,
you see
sure.
some AFL players and you go, oh, there's a bit of pain, but I could earn $1 million a year.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, it's like
Who's making $1 million a year doing the beach volleyball? Oh, sorry, the volleyball.
Yeah, a lot of
volleyball.
in Australia. There's probably 10, 15 guys over 100 grand a year, and probably 3 or 4 in the mills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my
Wow.
mate Igor, who went to high school with me, he'd be in the mills. Tom Edgar's
Million.
in Korea.
Where's the cash coming from?
Europe, 3 biggest sports in Europe: football, basketball, volleyball. So
Wow.
it's
Really?
in 3rd, yeah.
And so they have like sponsor deals or something like
Oh,
sponsorship.
you play for a club, and you know that's the Italian league is the richest league in the world, and that's huge.
What are they? What's the turnout to these events like? How
it's
many people?
massive. Yeah, in Serbia, I played in front of about 15,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you got photos or something?
Yeah.
You surely got something.
So, well, yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
let
a
me
few
just check my
photos.
phone.
Have you had
Screensaver.
have you had a bit of a rebrand though? Was there because I feel like if I was a volleyballer or played at that level, I would be all in.
Volleyball guy.
Yeah, I would be the volleyball.
Well, I was never interested in being a coach. So when you stop playing, you're like, well, that's sort of it.
Okay.
And it was pre-social media, so I wasn't like on Instagram like, yo, I'm Ryan, the volleyball guy.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of finished that up when I was 23.
And because they talk about like Olympics and shit, that
Yep.
there's like orgies that go on and
Yep.
shit like that.
It's all true.
Is it like
100%.
really?
Yep.
Hang on, wait. You're talking from experience or?
No, I've never got into the Olympic team, but
But even
that's
I'm
true,
guessing
yeah.
if that's the Olympic team, then like if the Olympic level,
well, think
you
about
just
it.
you got all
Fit,
these hot
good-looking
people living in the
yeah.
same place.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of you're really dedicated to doing it. And so when you finish, like you might finish on day 9 of the Olympics that goes for 15 days. You're just hanging out for 6 days in the village.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Not have sex with a hot Polish
You
beach
say
volleyball?
Usain Bolt just eating KFC and having
Yeah.
sex.
Well, the annoying thing for
That's what he was. He was
athletics,
eating heaps of KFC,
the 100-meter sprints towards the end, whereas the swimmers is always at the start. The swimmers, some of them are finished on day 2.
and then they just and
and then you got Ricardo.
Swimmers, though, there's
Yeah.
the hot tip.
Really?
And water polo girls. They know what I'm talking about.
No, well, I
That's the
guess
Daily
there's,
Talk Show.
I get the good core strength and stuff. The polo.
I don't know why
the
they're
water
just
polo.
mad.
yeah.
They're just mad.
Yeah.
Water sports.
Yeah, the chlorine or something.
Yeah.
does
Should
something.
we put Mr. 97 in this
Yeah,
thing,
we'll do
running
that.
down the street?
Yeah, it's a Daily Talk Show.
Future Olympian.
Hi at thedailytalkshow.com is the email. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, guys.
See you guys.